name
how
from.
did that? So then, why did that news break?
She's like Jordan Belfort from The Wolf of Wall Street. I ain't never leaving. I never fucking leaving.
So then, why did that news break?
Kathleen Kennedy speaks on her Lucasfilm plans. She is not retiring, and the films that will keep her in Star Wars orbit for years to come. She ain't going anywhere, guys. But the Piranha, yeah. So he says, I thought I'd seen all the trade journalism, but the Piranha frenzy on Kathleen Kennedy and the successor speculation that followed Matt Baloney's Puck report that Disney was putting her out to the pasture is a new one on me. Baloney for years has been beating on Kennedy like she owes him money, and this week he reported Kennedy was retiring. I recall he essentially did the same thing more than a year ago, and yet here she still is producing The Mandalorian movie and prepping the Sean Levy-directed Star Wars film that Ryan Gosling is circling. I forgot about that being a thing.
Wait. Ryan Gosling's going to be in a Star Wars movie?
Apparently, as well as numerous other film and streaming projects with A-list participants.
Ryan Gosling in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
We're all kinds of cut.
Let's see. The trades followed with gusto, dishing speculative reporting who might succeed Kennedy. Keep in mind, Sean Levy is the guy who did Deadpool. The takeaway was chaos and that Kennedy was being pushed. The reality is different, far more orderly. I'm sure she ain't going anywhere, dude.
Well, she's not just going to willingly
According to insiders,
down.
Kennedy has been working on a succession plan for a couple years. What?
I was saying she's not going to just she's not just going to
crazy.
Oh shit. Hold on.
Oh, you're good. Well, that was early. No, he'll be back in a second. Yeah, no, the Ryan Gosling thing's funny. It could work. I don't know what the story will be, but it could work. But I just see him as the Blade Runner guy. Oh, I'll see him. It'll be if it's anything like that, which it probably will be. No, like Sean Levy, it'll probably be darker, grittier. It'll just be like Blade Runner 2049.
Man,
or whatever the year, whatever that movie is supposed to take place. But yeah, Bob Iger, Alan Bergman, someone like Dave Filoni, who's the universe inside out in a strong position. He's really just talking about Baloney's hustle here, the ability to turn over hard ground, but his penchant for defining industry people like Kennedy in disparaging ways. I just don't understand that. I didn't appreciate it when Deadline founder Nikki Fink did it here, and it feels like the appetite for Schadenfreude is nowhere near as high now. Given how this business is still trying to regain footing after the global pandemic, the year-long, that's a bullshit. That's bullshit. They're not trying to regain footing after the global pandemic.
I mean,
Hollywood was still allowed to work. Hollywood was still allowed to work. What they're trying to regain footing after was the fucking writer's strike and the actor's strike. The year-long labor strikes and the wildfires. Wildfires, I can understand that. But the fact that you're saying that COVID is still affecting them, bullshit.
Yeah, no, I don't buy that.
They made bad movies. They made TV shows. All their TV shows that came out were not hailed by the fans. They've made bad content. You know what they're definitely still reeling from? The Acolyte. Because Star Wars is level of the apathy is at an all-time high for Star Wars. No one gives a fuck. That's what your problem is. Kennedy was seen an unlikely target for ire in good times or bad. Yeah, that's not true. 13 years into her run steering Lucasfilm, she has done much with the challenge of trying to broaden George Lucas's Star Wars vision. Not really. After Disney bought it from him for $4 billion in cash and stock in 2012. It's a challenge Amazon now will try with James Bond after purchasing creative control from 007 gatekeepers for $1 billion beyond the $8 billion they paid for MGM Studios. Kennedy arguably is the most successful female producer executive in Hollywood history. Arguably is the key word there. She's got her name on a ton of movies. She didn't do that though.
Well, but like, let me ask though, is that true by technicality?
Yes, by technicality, it's true. Did she have that much influence back in the day? No. Her name's on Indiana Jones, but she didn't really have that much say.
She probably didn't even work on
Indiana.
it, right? Yeah, no. She probably didn't even work on it.
Basically, she has gotten to slap her name onto everything.
Yeah.
So yes, she got to slap her Indiana Jones. She got to slap her name on a couple other things here, but is she truly a producer on them? By technicality, yes. Her name is in the producer slot. How much work did she do? Probably not much.
What else is she on? Let's see. The Sixth Sense, Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
E.T.?
Yeah, basically anything that Spielberg had anything to do with, she's on there.
Schindler's List? Back to the Future?
So it's the same. So it's, yes, Spielberg's. These are all Spielberg movies. So it's the same exact, except for Sixth Sense was not Spielberg. But Indiana Jones, E.T., Munich, Lincoln, I don't think was Spielberg. The Color Purple, I might have been Spielberg. War of the Worlds, Poltergeist was Spielberg. Schindler's List, I believe, was Spielberg. Back to the Future was Spielberg. So, I mean, you've got your name on all of these things, right? She has produced more than 70 films that have collected 120 Oscar nominations and 25 wins.
Huh.
And she herself was awarded the honorary Oscar with the Irving G. Thalberg Memorial Award with 8 other Oscar nominations. Her resume is dotted with classics including Jurassic Park, Sixth Sense, Indiana Jones, E.T., Munich, Lincoln, The Color Purple, War of the Worlds, Poltergeist, Schindler's List, Back to the Future franchise, and so many others. While it has always been a challenge to please the Star Wars faithful, and there has been some misfires. There's been only misfires, except for Mandalorian Season 1 and Andor. Yeah, it's right here. Like I was saying, 5 Star Wars films she has produced have grossed nearly $6 billion, with streaming series successes topped by The Mandalorian and Andor. So there you go. Yeah, Andor. Up there. Higher than Kenobi, higher than Boba Fett, higher than Ahsoka.
Well, making money doesn't mean success, though, necessarily.
Making money doesn't mean a quality film. Yeah, so, I mean, The Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion, but that doesn't make it a good fucking movie.
No. Didn't The Last Jedi make like $2 billion or something?
Yeah, because they hyped it up.
Yeah.
It's going to be the biggest battle in Star Wars history. It's going to be crazy war. Everything's going to go down. And then what? Nothing happened. Nothing happened, but you did create the biggest war in Star Wars history, which was the war between the fan base.
Yep. It was
so technically the reason why.
It was the Star Wars fan civil war, pretty much.
It's still going on.
Yeah.
It's still going on. The more things like the Acolyte that we get, the more things like Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian Season 3 that we get, it continues. But again, Harvey Weinstein's name is on the Hobbit movies.
What?
He has nothing to do with the Hobbit movies.
What?
Yeah. It's a Weinstein Corporation film.
Oh, man.
It was Lord of the Rings. Beginning of Lord of the Rings says Weinstein Company. Harvey Weinstein's name is on these movies as a producer. but he had nothing to do with them.
Damn.
So use that as an example. How many music artists are signed to a label? The label has nothing to do with the music that's being made.
Oh. Probably like 80% of them. Probably.
Right, so you get to slap your name on all these movies, but that doesn't necessarily mean you had a hand in any of it.
Or, well, it's kind of like you and me are fans of rap. It's kind of like, ghostwriters. It's kind of like that thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like the same, but like
Yes.
ghostwriters get their names on songs even if they didn't write them.
So I find this funny that this guy is just like getting on his hands and knees for Kathleen Kennedy. He's like, the woman is a first ballot Hall of Famer, not someone who deserves to be batted around like a piñata. She also deserves to own her own narrative and demystify this pseudo drama. Deadline gave Kennedy the opportunity, catching her just before she headed off to be honored tonight with her husband Frank Marshall, which is the only reason that she's fucking famous, by the way, is Frank Marshall at the Oscar Wilde Awards. And how many people watched the Oscars this year? Probably not many.
What does he do?
Frank Marshall is a producer who actually was the producer on a lot of these movies, like Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, Star Wars. She married him. She was an assistant before that. She was a PA. She was getting coffee for people. She married Frank Marshall and became a producer.
And now she's the head of Lucasfilm.
Yes.
Oh, man.
So Deadline says, we've read all these speculative reports that you are out, that there's a frenzy for the next person who's going to take over Lucasfilm. What's the truth? She said, the truth is, and I want to just say loud and clear, I am not retiring. I will never retire from movies. I will die making movies. This film is, I have been talking for quite some time with both Bob and Alan about what eventual succession might look like. We have an amazing bench of people here, and we have every intention of making an announcement months or a year down the road. We are in lockstep as to what that's going to be, and I'm continuing. I'm producing the Mandalorian movie right now, and I'm also producing Sean Levy's movie, which is after that. So I'm continuing to stay at Lucasfilm and looking very thoughtfully with Bob and Alan as to who's stepping in. So that is all underway. And we have every right to make that announcement when we want to make it.
So she is leaving, just not right now.
She said she'll die here. I will die making movies.
But then what does she mean by someone stepping in?
When I die, this is going to be the person that takes control of Star Wars.
Oh.
That's what she's saying. That's what the announcement will be. I will be here until I'm dead.
It's going to be Dave.
It's going to be Dave or Jon Favreau, both of which are not good choices in my opinion. Does Dave know Star Wars? Yes. But does Dave put his own shit and his own agendas above everything else in Star Wars? Yes. Does Jon Favreau love Star Wars and know Star Wars? I'm sure he does, but he's also the reason we got Jack Black and Lizzo. That was a him decision. That was a Jon Favreau decision.
I mean, I'd rather Jon Favreau than Dave, though, at this point.
I would think so, but who knows? That you are looking within seems to give credence to what we've heard, that an exec like Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni is in a good position as he works on a Star Wars to write and direct. That as he works on a Star Wars, terrible quote. I can't say who it is because there's just an internal process that goes on inside a large corporation and a publicly held company.
Oh, come on. Just say it's just say that it's Dave.
Finalizing decisions, making announcements. There's nothing unusual about that, and we're in that process. This flurry of press coverage, it sounds like chaos. What's the reality? Chaos. There has never been any chaos because we know exactly what the plan is. And we've been talking about it, as I said, nonstop for the last couple of years because for obvious reasons, I'm not going to be here forever. George asked me 13 years ago to step in, and now I'm looking at who's going to replace me. And as I said, we have a bench of people internally to handle the business, the creative side. The job has grown also since I stepped in. There was no streaming. There weren't a lot of things that we're involved in right now going on. So it has grown. How far down the road do you expect before a change gets made and then you go off and produce these two big Star Wars things? We'll probably make an announcement months or a year out, and I have every intention of sticking around to help that person be successful. I'm already producing the Mandalorian movie and Sean Levy's after that. I recall these
So,
retirement predictions were rendered a while ago, and you re-upped, and here you are. What do you make of this fixation on your job status? She said, I truly don't know, and any discussion previously about me retiring or quitting or any of those things, that's complete rumor mill because through all these reports, I have just continued doing my job and continuing my contract. Nothing unusual. It all has just been manufactured. Well, I mean, continuing your job is. I don't think you ever really did your job to begin with.
well, no. If you go back up to her quote from earlier, she says that she's going to stick around to help the person that comes in. So what that means is that she's going to step aside from the creative process, I guess.
I don't
But
necessarily take it that way. I take that as she's going to groom somebody to be in her position.
mm, mm.
She's going to groom up somebody that she wants to be in that position. I think I honestly, dude, I would not put it past her if she was thinking about making that person up until last summer, Leslie Headland.
Well, it's probably not going to be her though now.
Casey's right. Nobody watches the award shows anymore. Dave Baloney. Uh, she says, absolutely not the case. It cannot be further from the truth. And everything that we do inside of Lucasfilm is in lockstep and in communication with Disney. So she's just going in circles now. We all know what's going on. The communication has been completely collaborative, as you would expect. This is a big piece of business for them, and they want to empower me to help them make that decision and that choice. I'm doing that. This guy says, I'm placing some blame on Marvel's Kevin Feige because he had that magnificent streak of superhero hits and set an impossibly high bar. Yeah, up until 2019, till Endgame. After that, name more than two hits, which were Spider-Man and Deadpool, which wasn't a Marvel thing. That Kevin Feige had nothing to do with Deadpool. He just said, "Okay, go ahead and do it."
Um, I guess Guardians of the Galaxy. Other than that, that's
Guardians
it.
of the Galaxy wasn't a hit. Did it make money?
It was a hit critically though.
Critically, sure, but it didn't make money. It maybe broke even. It maybe broke even. It wasn't considered a box office hit. Dude, it was in theaters for like 2 months.
Huh.
Maybe.
I don't.
And then it went to streaming.
Yeah, true. I don't remember that time period.
No Way
My
Home
mind kind
and
of.
Deadpool are the only two big hits that they've had. Like true hits that made much more past their breaking even point.
See, yeah, Guardians did make money. It's what I thought.
But they didn't make money like that. What you could say Guardians made money, but where? Because right now, if I ask a person on the street, like, what are the last two Marvel films you saw? It's probably Spider-Man and probably Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from. You're thinking of it from like the sense of like what's a movie that like everybody is talking about, and it probably is those two because Guardians kind of flew under the radar. Yes, you are right.
Guardians, it's a good movie, but it flew under the radar the same way that Andor did. I
Yeah.
will not deny that nobody watched Andor season 1 until after Andor season 1 was out and already finished.
Yeah.
That's when it got the most love. Now it's getting the most love now, years later.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of had the prequel effect. What does Kevin Feige have to do with Kathleen Kennedy, though? Is what I'm
Because
curious
they're
about.
both under the Disney helm, and Marvel was doing better for a time, while Star Wars was not.
Mm.
But basically, now he's starting to take shrapnel. How daunting is it to run a company based on beloved and iconic IPs? What has been the most challenging thing about running Lucasfilm when fans of the original trilogy measure everything against it? And I don't see the business need of broadening the franchise when Disney paid so much for it. It's what Amazon MGM will now go through as it expands the James Bond universe, which nobody don't fucking expand it. Don't do that. That is a terrible idea. James Bond spinoffs are a terrible fucking idea for right now. You need a good James Bond movie. That's what you need first. A good, solid, back to the roots during the Cold War. Get a fucking, sorry to say it this way, get a good looking fucking white man who's got surrounded by hot chicks and he has gadgets and he goes and fights this crazy weird bad guy. And just do it during the Cold War. That will make money. That's what James Bond was. It's what it is. But if the next thing that comes out is a Miss Moneypenny spinoff, it's not going to make money. It's that simple.
Yep. 100%.
People want the Sean Connery type of Bond back. You already tried this dissection of Bond as a character when it came to Daniel Craig, and the only movie that people really liked out of that was Casino Royale. That one was the best one.
Yeah, I mean, Casino Royale is good though. It's a good movie.
It is a good movie. But then Spectre and was the one where he dies. No Time to Die. Fucking bad.
Oh yeah.
They're bad. Skyfall's alright. But Quantum of Solace is like, what the fuck is that? The something of what's it is not a good one. So I am interested to hear what she has to say about running Star Wars. It is something I think about all the time. It's fascinating to think about how you sustain a brand, especially Star Wars, which is just about to celebrate its 50th anniversary. And so to analyze and understand what was inspiring George when he created Star Wars, when he was still looking at Saturday matinees and Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon, and those are things of the past, and politically, what he was reflecting in his stories, he was not reflecting. There was slight allegory. It was never supposed to be political. The only politics in Star Wars is the politics between the Empire and the Senate. Star Wars is not fucking. It's not political at heart.
I'd say like 25% of it is.
Yeah, because you're running a galaxy. There needs to be politics in the story.
Well,
It's
not
not
so
Game
much
of
like
Thrones. Game of Thrones is political at heart.
yeah.
Star Wars does not center around politics. Star Wars centers around the wistful thinking of getting off of the planet where you have this mundane life and going out and exploring the galaxy and discovering the struggle between good and evil, and what side are you going to choose? That's Star Wars. That is what that boils down to. Because everybody can relate with the scene where Luke Skywalker is looking off at the twin suns and he's like, I want to get out of here. I don't want to be on Tatooine any longer. And then things are brought to him and he goes on this crazy journey. Same thing with Anakin. He goes on this crazy journey. And it's the struggle between good and evil. That's what Star Wars boils down to.
And if you want to make the argument, I think out of all three trilogies, the prequels are the most like political out of all of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I think that from just like an outsider's perspective, like someone who all the time thinks about like how politics are, like me, I think now, and before y'all quote me, I'm not saying that this is what George did, but I'm saying that maybe he thought about the Empire like how people think about fascist governments or how people think about like, dictatorships. Maybe in
Well,
like
that's
that way.
exactly what it is. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. They're space
Yeah.
Nazis,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they're not all. None of them have German accents. They're all old British
Well,
dudes.
yeah. Yeah.
It's like
But
it's not
like,
on the head. It's yes, clearly they are a fascist dictatorship.
yeah.
They're an empire, and people were getting sick and tired of it, so they fought against it. But
Exactly.
that's just what that organization is. Because the republic is a republic. It's clearly a republic of people with voting and all this other stuff. It's how the dark side, the evil, manipulates that.
Exactly. Right. It's
How they get all of these
it's
different
a
planets
mix.
and yes, how they get all these different planets and worlds to be okay with the fact that the empire is being ushered in.
Yep.
Because they're telling them all these nice cushy things. None of it's true, except for some planets. So Star Wars is not political at heart. Is there politics in it? Yes, because you're running an entire you're creating an entire galaxy. There has to be politics involved. So she goes, because Star Wars has always had a kind of world building and it reflects a certain amount of society. I don't think it really does, but the world, needless to say, is changing by the second, and consequently, the audience has changed dramatically. Yeah, they've changed dramatically because you alienated more than half of them. So it's no shit that
Well,
the
in what way
audience
does she mean that though? In what way
how
does
they
she mean that?
she
Like, does
continues
she?
how they consume things. We're
Mm,
seeing this reflected in the health of the movie business and what it really means for streaming and what are all these other platforms that may be on the horizon. Okay,
what are they
so
on the horizon? What is she talking about?
what you're seeing in the movie industry is because people are getting sick and tired of identity politics and woke bullshit being forced into their movies. When I want to go and see an alien movie, I don't need it to be girl power the whole time because that's not what the first Alien was. The first Alien is a horror movie where Ripley is well written as a strong female character and she ends up being the only survivor. And guess what? She is fucking horrified of what she's going through in both of those movies. There's a ton of fucked up shit that she has to get through and see and barely escapes with her life. It's not like Alien Romulus where the chick's just like at the end of it, just I'm gonna kill this fucking thing. We're getting all this shit. Yeah, girl power, let's fucking go. Like people are getting sick and tired of all that stuff. I mean, that's why streaming service shows that spend $1 billion aren't making money. That's why a lot of your Star Wars shows aren't making money. And it's why some of your Star Wars movies, while they made money, are not seen by a majority of the fan base to be good movies. Because you know what? I will argue that Jyn Erso in Rogue One is not a girl power character. But Rey is. Jyn Erso is just a member of the team and she's trying to find her dad. She's trying to save her dad. Now that she knows her dad's alive, she's just trying to save her dad. That's the point. That's the point of that movie. And then she realizes it's way bigger. And after her dad's dead, the whole point of it is I am going to finish what my dad started. At least do the best that I can to make sure that it goes from here.
Ray's not really a girl power. She's just a Mary Sue because she's like good at everything.
Well,
There.
that's the same thing in my eyes.
Well, yeah, no, but
That's the
Mary.
higher. That's downstream from girl power. That's the high end of the spectrum. Like,
Well, no, but like I'm saying, there can be Mary Sue men characters too.
there absolutely
Mary's,
is. Gary Stews.
but yes, but so like the point that I'm making is that I
Like
think,
fucking Falcon. Like Falcon is that. He's just
hey
getting
man,
like After
Hey
after
man,
after what Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
hey man, Falcon is Captain America now. I don't know what you're talking about.
Steve Rogers is Captain America.
Well, if you want to be technical, the dude from Falcon and the Winter Soldier is. If you want to be technical,
No, he never actually had the Captain America mantle. He was just a super soldier.
whatever.
I'm just saying. Steve Rogers is Captain America. Um, yes, how they consume things. We're seeing this reflected in the health of the movie business and what it really means for streaming and what are all these other platforms that may be on the horizon. I don't know what other platforms you're trying to talk about because a lot of the other platforms aren't doing well. We saw this with Paramount last year, where
No, so
Paramount
I'm
literally has stopped the creation of any new content. That's why
I'm telling you
Halo.
what's gonna happen. I'm telling you, they're all gonna merge into one streaming service eventually.
They've already really done that with Disney Plus because Disney Plus is bleeding money. But if you get Hulu, you get Disney Plus, or if you get
They
ESPN,
also
you get Disney Plus and Hulu. So if you buy that streaming service,
they're also merged with Max now too.
I think they have a deal with Max. They're not merged with Max. There's a
Mm,
difference. They're not owned by the Disney Corporation.
not yet.
So
Not
that's
not yet.
the only reason that Disney has done that is so that they can get other forms of viewership. Like, oh, you can watch Andor on HBO. So boom, we can add the viewership that HBO has to Andor. So it makes Andor look better.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Whereas
yeah.
Whereas it's the same way with subscribers. So if you're subscribed to Hulu and it gives you Disney Plus, therefore they can say, "Oh, look at all the subscribers we have to Disney Plus," even though no one's watching anything on it.
Yeah. And then like
It looks better for
vice
them.
and then like vice versa, I guess the partnership could also be like, hey, you can watch Game of Thrones on, Disney Plus, which like why would you want to watch it on there? But I mean, I guess.
I don't even think you can, but
You can't because I'm pretty sure that like Max sent some of their shows over to Disney Plus, but I've barely been using Disney Plus except to watch like only like the Star Wars movies and like occasionally a Marvel show and an old one.
yeah,
That's it.
I agree with this. Great Pilgrim and Muffler
There's
Tape
like
at
a
this point. It's about
there's 1,000 Spider-Men though. There's like 1,000 of them.
yeah, but the first one's Peter Parker. It's about good and evil. Politics is lesser, so good and evil transcends it. Not the other way around like they want. Exactly. Exactly. And I agree with you. Yeah, it'll probably end up boiling down to 3 or 4 streaming services if you count Apple. Netflix is still killing it. Netflix is still the most subscribed to. It's still doing the best out of all of the other streaming services. You can't even count Amazon's true numbers because if you have an Amazon Prime account, you are a Prime subscriber. So you're
Yeah,
part of the
no.
subscriber base for
I'm
Amazon Prime
saying
Video. Even if you've never watched any of the shows on Amazon Prime Video, they still count you as a subscriber to Amazon Prime Video because you have an Amazon Prime account.
no. But like the point that yeah. The point that I'm making is that I think like y'all come back to this pod 10 years from now and tell me if I was right because I think that what's going to happen is that there's going to be 2 streaming services. Netflix is going to acquire a bunch of them and Disney's going to acquire a bunch of them and then they're just going to merge under like one roof or 2 roofs.
And that's why Steve Rogers is Captain America. That's why Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Yeah, but to say that like none of the other adaptations are not or to say that like they're not those characters though is not accurate. Like saying that like Miguel O'Hara is not Spider-Man
He is
is not
a
true.
he is a Spider-Man.
He is a Spider-Man, yes.
But he's not
Yes.
Spider-Man.
How
It's
does
like
that make sense?
he's not the Spider-Man. He is a Spider-Man. He is a
He's not
person. So they're basically, literally, the way I think of all that passing down the mantle bullshit is you grift off of all the good intentions indeed that they had before. Again, he's Spider-Man 2099. He is not Spider-Man. So all of the good will that these characters first have, dude, it's the same way that Shuri in Black Panther is not T'Challa. She's not Black Panther.
Yeah, she's a different version of.
So that's the same thing I'm
of
telling
Black
you
Panther.
about Falcon is not Captain America. He's Falcon. He's not even a super soldier. He didn't even take the serum.
Well, that's not what made Captain America though. But
No, it made
yeah,
him like what made Captain America was his indomitable will to fight back against injustice. I don't think that Falcon portrays that.
Crimson, hold on a second, because Batman Beyond is Terry McGinnis, and he does not go by Batman Beyond. He goes by Batman. So I'm just saying, does he not count? Because he is Batman in the future. So I get where y'all are coming from, but I'm not disagreeing.
No, that's true. That's 100% true because Roman, like, you can say Spider-Man 2099 or like Miles Morales or whatever are like, you might like those Spider-Man runs, but they don't make the same amount of money as to when Peter Parker Spider-Man is the one that's on the head. Like, it's not going to make the same amount of money. It's not.
I'm not saying that they should be considered the main Spider-Man. What I'm saying is that to say that they're not a Spider-Man is just not like.
That's not what anybody's saying. What we're saying is they aren't Spider-Man, but they are a Spider-Man.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah.
It's like Dick Grayson is Robin. Dick Grayson is Robin, but there are other versions of Robin.
There's like 500 different Robins. Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
But Dick Grayson is the original Robin.
Yes.
He's Robin. So the reason that there's goodwill behind the mantle is because of the original character.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, dude, it's the same thing with like Kylo Ren literally wanted to be Darth Vader in all three of those movies. In all the sequel trilogy, all he wanted to do was be Darth Vader, and he just wasn't Darth Vader. He literally worshipped Darth Vader, and he was the emo cringe version of Vader the entire time. Because Anakin Skywalker...
Yeah.
Actually, Anakin Skywalker is not even Darth Vader. Darth Vader is Darth Vader. Darth Vader killed Anakin Skywalker to become him. He killed the Anakin within himself. Except for that little bit that came back when he saw his son about to die.
Yeah, I mean, now that you guys have explained it, now I get where like y'all are coming from. Yes, they're not the main adaptations of these characters.
This I agree with. Dick Grayson and Tim Drake are probably the only ones.
Okay, no, hold on. Jason Todd too is also
Jason Todd. You get a lot of Jason Todd.
Yes, but anything past that, I despise Damian Wayne. He can, jump off of a cliff.
Yeah, it's I don't terrible. Care what anybody says. Terrible character. But I mean, it's the same thing if you were to pass down like Master Chief's armor to somebody else.
Yeah, they wouldn't be the original master.
They're not John Sierra. They're not John Sierra 117.
Jason Todd is cooler as Red Hood.
Jason Todd did get killed because fans hated him so much, but he lasted longer than any of the other ones other than Dick Grayson and Tim Drake. That's why I will accept Jason Todd as an example, because the runs that he was in lasted a really long time. It just took a long time to kill him. But I mean, this mantle bullshit, it's with so many other characters.
Yeah.
So that's why when I say like Steve Rogers is Captain America, like he is the quintessential Captain America. Peter Parker is
the main one. Yes.
Spider-Man.
Yes. Yeah.
So like I can dress up as any of these superheroes and go to a con and be like, yeah, I'm Spider-Man 1,017,56 from whatever version 22B and be wearing like a Spider-Man suit that looks like an Arizona iced tea can. And they'll be like, okay, like, yeah, I'm Spider-Man from the Arizona iced tea universe. I'm only saying that because I'm drinking Arizona green tea right now. But like, put that design onto a Spider-Man suit, and then I can be like, yes, this is my version of Spider-Man. I am Spider-Man, and people will be like, no, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. You are a Spider-Man. I don't think of myself as Peter Parker because I'm going around going, yeah, Jimmy Bob Thornton is wearing the Arizona mask, so he's definitely Spider-Man now. Like, no, he is just in a comic book. It's a throwaway character. Most of them are. By the way, the Falcon run in the comics didn't do well.
Well, to be fair, I have never heard anyone say the Falcon is their favorite superhero.
No, but Falcon was the first black superhero that was in a Marvel comic to have his own run.
Was he?
Yeah, and it did well. It was him and then Black Panther. Falcon was first.
Falcon was first? Was he?
Falcon was first.
I'm pretty sure that Luke Cage was first. Hold on. Who was the...
I mean, Luke Cage might have been first, but
the first...
I know it wasn't Black Panther.
Black Marvel character to get their own run. I was right. It's Luke Cage.
Is it Luke Cage?
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking of Falcon being the first Avenger to get it.
Yes. Yes. But he was the first black Avenger. Yes. Yeah.
Either way, let's continue with this fucking Kathleen Kennedy shit.
Yeah. Where in the heck were we even at?
Talking about how the movies went fucking woke and it's all about that bullshit. Like, and that's why it just didn't work. It's not that the audiences have changed dramatically. It's that you as studios have forced political ideologies down so many people's throats that even the people that can get behind some of that are getting sick and tired of it. Because when you have a movie that comes out like Top Gun Maverick, it comes back again the next year and does even better in theaters than its original release, which was non-political. They had a faceless enemy, which, yeah, you can assume is the Russians by the places that they fight and the battles that happen in the movie. But it's just a feel-good, patriotic American story of we're going to get the bad guys. And, oh, look at that. We got the bad guys. But they never say who the bad guys are. They call them, like, they have a name for them, but they don't ever say what country it is. I think they just keep calling them the enemy throughout the whole movie.
Well, I mean, that would have been kind of bold, though, to say who, like, the enemy was, though. You know? It's kind of like...
Oh, no, I don't think so. They do that in a lot of movies.
Well, yeah, but, like, if we were to go down that road, though, if we ever got a remake to Saving Private Ryan, then, like, they would say, well, we're not fighting the, Japanese. We're fighting, the enemy.
They didn't fight the Japanese.
What I mean?
They didn't fight the Japanese in Saving Private Ryan. They fought the Nazis.
Oh, I'm thinking of the wrong movie.
Have you seen Saving Private Ryan, my friend?
Yes, I have. I'm thinking of the wrong movie. Because I thought that the Battle of D-Day was the Japanese.
You're thinking of Omaha Beach.
I am. Yes.
People want to watch shows to get away from the real world drama and not have it constantly shoved down our throats. Casey fucking hit it on the point. It's exactly what it is.
That's
why the movie industry is failing. They'll tell you a million times over that it's because of COVID. They're reeling from COVID. That streaming is taking away people's feeling of wanting to go to the movies. I can tell you how wrong that is because when I saw Attack on Titan in theaters 2 weeks ago, that was the most packed theater that I have seen in years. The only row that didn't have people sitting in it was the first row. Even the second row of seats had people in it. And everywhere else, not a single open seat. Packed to the brim. And it was fun as fuck. When hype moments happened in the movie, people were, and it wasn't obnoxious. It was like the whole crowd would go like, yes! Or the whole crowd would be like, yeah, get him! Like, or the whole crowd would be like, oh! Like, it was fun, man. It was fun. And I have not been in a theater with that amount of energy in a long time. There's people dressed up. There was people like getting hype. Like, dude, it was cool. That was cool. I have not been in a theater experience like that in forever. Maybe Oppenheimer, because I went to see Oppenheimer opening day or opening weekend. So maybe Oppenheimer was that packed, but I still don't think it was literally not an open seat anywhere. I wish I could have taken a picture of it. Because I've never seen a theater that packed since probably The Force Awakens, to be honest with you, or maybe Endgame. That's probably
I was gonna say when we went to go and see Endgame, there was not an empty seat in that theater.
Let's say that was probably the last time that I've actually seen a theater that packed. That's 2019.
No Way Home. No Way Home was also pretty packed. No Way Home was packed.
Yeah, that's literally the perfect point. A 3-hour rated R movie about Senate meetings and making a bomb almost made $1 billion. The COVID excuse is dead. Absolutely.
Well, it's literally just that like 85% of like movies that like come out now just suck.
That's the point, though, Roman. Why do they suck? Guess what won? We got to talk about what won the fucking Oscars, too, when I'm done with this. We're almost done, all right? Because I'm almost done reading about Kathleen Kennedy because I think we've gotten the fucking point. And I'm only halfway through this article, and I don't need to read the whole other thing. But
we really don't need to know.
Because it's going to be this guy just talking about how much he loves Kathleen Kennedy and how people shouldn't shit on her, even though she's completely driven Star Wars into the ground and put the biggest wedge possible between the fan base. I mean, this is bigger than when the prequels were out and people were either hating on the prequels or loving the prequels, and it was the OT fans that were like, this isn't Star Wars. Now most people will accept that the prequels and the OT are Star Wars, and everything Disney is separate. I mean, some people will even tell you that the Clone Wars are terrible. And you know what? I love the Clone Wars, but the more and more I keep seeing fucking Ahsoka pop up and things, dude, the more and more I'm getting sick and tired of looking at her. Because I didn't mind her in Rebels popping up for a little bit. But then you go and put her in Mando, and I was like, okay, that was kind of cool. She's still around. She's still operating. And then she's in Book of Boba Fett, and she's in her own show, and she's just not Ahsoka. She doesn't act like Ahsoka. She's just stoic and talks real monotone like this. And it's just like, okay, so I know that the character I saw in Rebels, who was supposed to be adult Ahsoka, which actually acted like Ahsoka would later on, a couple years later doesn't act like that anymore. It is just real stoic and whatever. Also doesn't fight the same way. Whatever. I can talk about how much that she's starting to give me the
is
low. She's starting to give me the freaking baby. She's starting to give me the Baby Yoda fucking vibe. Where it's like I don't even want to see Baby Yoda anymore. Like now I see Ahsoka and I fucking cringe. Because she's in everything now. And she's
Rosario Dawson.
She's fucking died 3 times. She has died 3 times. And they're just like, nope, Force bullshit. She's back. Like, death means nothing anymore. Especially when you have fucking characters that just show up and they get stabbed by a lightsaber. And then the next scene, they're in a fucking hospital. And it's all good. Looking at you.
Rosario Dawson was like low-key better in Daredevil than she has been.
She was high-key better in Daredevil.
than she has been in Ahsoka. Because like she herself is not a bad actress. She just can't play Ahsoka the way
Rosario
that Ahsoka
Dawson is great
should
in
be played.
Clerks.
Yeah, she just can't.
Star Wars Theory has that hat. I want to get that hat. It's a black hat. It just says "Make movies great again." I want that hat. Hold up. Let me finish this here because pretty much at the end of it. You're trying forward, and at the same time, you're trying to create stories that feel familiar. So you're moving into the future, but you're maintaining a sense of familiarity. I think that's the hardest balance. Well, you haven't figured out that balance because your sense of familiarity in Star Wars it's not there. Yeah, you have aliens, but is your sense of familiarity just as simple as we have a force user in it? There's lightsabers, there's laser guns, there's spaceships, but it doesn't feel like Star Wars because the music is completely different. The way that people are acting is completely different. Oh, here's
All
a
right,
cameo
well,
of
I'll
somebody you
just say
recognize, so that's familiarity.
the the music's not entirely their fault. John Williams can't do it forever. You know what I mean?
No, but you could keep it classical style music.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, like, John, Williams eventually is gonna have to stop.
He
You
did.
know,
He
like,
already did. His last movie was Indiana Jones, unfortunately.
yeah, what a way to go out.
So he says, then when you have a brand, or she continues, then when you have a brand that's this expansive, you're also, and this is something we work very hard at. I don't know about that. You try to find different entry points for different generations because that's what Star Wars has always been. Bro, that's not how it worked because everybody shows their kids the original trilogy first. You don't need another entry point. It's the original trilogy. Our parents first saw the original trilogy. Then they showed us the original trilogy before the prequels came out. Then the prequels came out. And then now there's kids that grew up with the prequels that are showing their kids the original trilogy and then the prequels. It always starts with the original trilogy. Nobody starts with the prequels.
Well,
Now
you said,
you might have had friends at the time of the prequels coming out that weren't Star Wars fans, and you were like, bro, we're going to see Star Wars. And they're like, I'm not really a fan. And it's like, well, that's what we're doing tonight. So they'd go and see it, and then they'd go back and watch the original trilogy.
didn't you say, I think we've had this conversation, that if you're getting someone into Star Wars and they know absolutely nothing, show them A New Hope, but if they know the Vader twist, you can start with like Phantom Menace or something of that nature.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
it's
sure.
possible. Yeah, the music in Rogue One was fine, and I did also say that the Andor theme for the beginning of Andor was good. So I'm not saying you can't start with the prequel trilogy. You can. But if it's going generationally, most people are going to show those movies to their own kids the way that they were shown the movies in order.
Oh well, yeah, yes, yeah.
Like I'm not going to
I'm
show somebody Star Wars and be like, I'm going to start with the sequel trilogy. That who would do
well,
that? Who would do
well.
that?
I mean, you're just asking for the person that you're showing it to not like it at that point.
It doesn't make sense. But anyway, Kathleen, let's hear what you have to find. Different entry points. It's a very generational brand, and we want to sustain that. Well, I'll tell you right now that most people in Gen Z could give a single fuck about Star Wars right now. We work hard to sustain that. Do you? So George gave us the gift of storytelling being across lots of different genres, and that gives us a lot of opportunity to try things. What we've really enjoyed about the streaming space is we've been able to experiment. It's harder to do that in the movie space. And now I think that's why it feels so good to be able to move into the Mandalorian movie as we're coming off of 3 seasons of a very successful show. Season 3 was not successful at all. Season 1 was successful. Season 2 was fairly successful, but Season 3 was not successful whatsoever. We've actually built an audience for that, and we gave the young audience an opportunity to enter Star Wars at a different place and not feel like you have to have seen everything. Become their Star Wars. And that, I think, is the fun of storytelling challenge.
Hold on, wait a second. It's not that much to watch.
Yeah, it's not like Marvel where you have to watch 30 movies to understand what's going to happen in Doctor Strange.
You just got to watch like 6 films, and then if you want to, you can watch like Clone Wars. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, like it's not that much. And you know what? If you create a good show, they'll want to go back and watch it. They'll want more. That's why the prequels were made. That's why Clone Wars was made, because people wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
You had eager fans chomping at the bit to get more Star Wars. To be in that world longer. That's why the first Fantastic Beasts movie for Harry Potter did pretty well. Because people wanted more. People love the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
What are you guys talking about in chat?
Bro, they're having an entirely different conversation. Great Pilgrim's talking about disowning his kids if they like the sequels. He said, I'll sell them. His mom told me the other night.
That's not legal for you to sell your children in the great state of Oregon, Pilgrim. If you want to, do that, you'll have to go to like, I don't know, Louisiana or something if you want to do that.
Oh, I was just going to say Africa.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm talking about places in America that you could like probably do that and like nothing would be said to you about it.
I don't think you can do that anywhere in America. What's with the Louisiana shade?
Because I don't like New Orleans. They can just.
New Orleans is a great town.
New Orleans is mid, bro. Okay, I don't want to hear it.
Never been there. Never been there. Says New Orleans is mid. You just don't like the football.
Why? Because they have Mardi Gras. Wow, we can have Mardi Gras in Philly too, but we choose not to.
It's not the same though. No, we actually can't have it up here because there's not Creole people. You need Creole people because that's their holiday. Okay. I've celebrated Mardi Gras up here because my parents love New Orleans. But that's like me literally being like, yeah, Philly sucks. And I'm not from Philly, Roman. You'd be like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And I'll tell you right now, and I'm from Philly, there's parts of Philly that fucking suck. So I will admit there's parts of Philly that suck.
Look, if anybody here is from New Orleans or from any of the surrounding areas, you can feel free to tell me if it's actually good. I was just making like a general statement. How much more of this are we like gonna read? Because I want to move on to something else.
We're not. I think that's enough. I think we get the
You
point.
Remember, I gotta clip this for the second channel, and I'm not trying to sit here for like an hour with that Kathleen Kennedy.
Boo-hoo.
You don't do it, okay?
Oh, good for you,
dude.
Yeah. No, I do just like.
I am not putting up what Pilgrim said for my reason that I don't like New Orleans. No,
is that because you agree with it?
No. It's because I did, bro. Do I agree with it?
You should do this, bro, because I go back to try to catch stuff in the stream, and I'm like, we don't do fucking timestamps.
Bro, I have Michael Jordan and Martin Luther King on my freaking wall.
Yeah, he's got two
Okay?
black posters behind him.
And I'm wearing a black shirt. The only thing in here that's white are my walls and my mic. Everything else is either black
And your
or
skin.
like
Your skin's up there too. Yo, literally, that's the same energy. That's the same energy. That's the RG energy. I got black friends.
what? Oh my god, bro.
Jefferson Davis.
Well, that's funny because it's actually Roosevelt. So y'all are chopped.
Which one?
Huh? Franklin.
Franklin?
Well, Franklin and Theo. They were,
Theo's
they're actually
badass.
both. Yeah.
Created the national parks.
Ew, hey man, do not hate on either one of the Roosevelts. They